We're back. We took last week off. We're back here for Friday night. It's Brews and Bros, so it's a little more chill, a little more relaxed. We're trying not to get all worked up and yell and stuff like that. Well, maybe a little bit. Maybe we'll do some of that. You never know. But we are here joined tonight by Ben, of course. He's back in the house. And we got Bruce as well. Reached out to Nico to see if we get a Nico appearance, but he was a little too busy tonight or something going on, or I don't know. He had a date. I'm not sure what's going on.
Whoa, hey!
But we're hoping he had a date. Hope so, Nico. Something like that.
It really is Brews and Bros.
That's right.
Brews and Bros.
Oh, I knew there was a reason we had you on here, Bruce. That's so good. I got a couple of things off the top before we get into any Packer stuff. And we do have some Packer stuff to talk about. There's some moves taking place. Some other things happened. Bruce getting just destroyed on Facebook for pointing out facts. My goodness, Bruce, we got to get into that. And then, Nico said back in his message to me when he said he couldn't be on, he's like, "Go Pack, go." And I said, tonight's show might not be Go Pack, go. It might be more like No Pack, no. Because
it might be Go Bears.
I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed. It's
Russell Wilson, maybe.
You guys. Yeah, Russell Wilson. I know Mom would like to see him twice a year. All right. I'm drinking Moon Man tonight because some celebratory Moon Man. Last week, we did a fundraiser at the place I work because now my job is switched from what it used to be, which was mostly do all this other stuff, outreach and PR and marketing and help the nonprofit, be a good ambassador for it, and raise money and do some volunteer projects to get money. So anyway, last week we're involved in this fundraiser, this online giving day, and the good people at New Glarus Brewing gave us a $5,000 donation. So that helped me out a ton in the fundraiser I was working on, and they're awesome people. So I'm definitely drinking their beer tonight. Thank you, New Glarus Brewing Company. You're awesome. So, and that took me
that ahead of time. I would have had a New Glarus if you'd have told me.
I'm sorry. I should have let you know in advance. But that took me a total of 2 emails and all of 4 minutes to get a $5,000 donation. So that's efficiency. And efficiency is something we're going to talk about tonight related to the Packers too, just so you know. Okay, what else is going on, you guys? Any news coming in?
What?
Ben, you got any news?
Besides what we know?
Personal news, anything exciting happening in your areas of the world? Which is the wrong side of the border. But go ahead.
Well, in the last 2 weeks since we last saw each other, I went and dug up all my Magic cards and went through them all, at least all the rare ones and the epic ones. And I went to this website to see if they're worth anything because they would buy them, because I haven't played Magic in like 3 years or 4 years because it's just too expensive. Turns out I had $900 worth of rare and epic Magic cards.
Ooh.
Just laying around the house.
Dang. Just think if you did that with all your collectibles.
Yeah, well, the other collectibles nobody wants. But the Magic cards people actually want. So I sold them to this company. And the best part is they gave me a 35% increase if I take credit. So against way better judgment, a normal person would just take the money. But not me. I'm stupid. So I got $1,200 some worth of credit in nerd games that I can buy online. And I've already spent 200 some of it. So guess who's having another Christmas? Christmas number 2 came today. I got 2 expansions for this one game. I got a brand new game and an expansion. I got another brand new game and an expansion. I got another brand new game. I got a game that's the second edition of a game I already have that just upgrades the stuff I have. So I got crap coming out of my ears, and I still got another like $900 something worth of credit I can spend, but I'm going to hold off for a little bit.
You could have had $900 cash, and you.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's my thinking. Okay. If I take that $900 cash, you know who's going to see that $900 cash? Not me. Not me. My wife. My kids, they'll use it. It'll be used for them.
I was gonna say you could have taken your brother to a Packer game and bought him some, cocktails.
No, I can't. $900. What do you give me 1 seat for that? But no. So
Could've
my
paid for
thought was
mine.
this.
Go ahead.
I'm like, hey, I'm going to spend this money in the next, 5-6 years anyway, probably, because I'll probably spend that much money in 5-6 years. So why don't I just take it down? Plus, it was just sitting down there in my collection, just laying there. It wasn't until I dug and spent time to find all the cards and look it up and send it in to find out that I had all this money sitting down there. So screw you guys and screw everybody else. It's about time I do something for this guy. Now all I need is somebody to play games with, because my game group has gotten together maybe like 3 times in the last, since COVID-19 hit. So the last year we've gotten together 3 times. So that sucks. But anyways, so that's what happened to me. I could have had $900 cash. I took $1,250 in store credit like an idiot. But that's me.
I got a quick good news follow up on that for you. Okay. So, because I've been involved in some of these different groups, and we got breaking news on Monday from Madison Public Dane County, or Public Health of Madison Dane County, which is also kind of setting the table for the state. And then things have happened, right, with vaccines and other things, distribution, production, all of that. And they're anticipating here that all adults, they'll open it up to all adults who want the vaccine will be start getting moving on it by the early to mid-April. So we're looking like, and then I know there's been, some federally now they're pushing out and challenges and trying to get all vaccines out to in all states, open it up by May. So I don't know where you guys are at in Minnesota, but things are moving in the right direction that we can all get our vaccines and take care of business, and everybody that wants one can get one, and then hopefully move on to the kids over the summer and all that jazz. And so hopefully majority of this stuff is behind us and we can start, getting back to some sort of normalcy pretty soon. So those are some other good points that just happened recently. Bruce, what do you got?
Hey, the golf course is open here in Minnesota recently.
Really? The snow's melted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I can start playing golf. I'm good with that. So
Wow.
I went golfing once.
That's true.
Once in your life, or
Yes. I went with my dad.
Okay.
Dad loves golf.
And he
Barry,
said,
does Barry golf a lot or no?
he used to.
Did he?
Well, he used to go. He goes golfing with his dad, with his brother, and his nephew, who has passed away, years ago now. But he had cancer. But he was a golf pro at one of the golf, country clubs or whatever.
Sure.
So he taught golf and whatever. He was one of those kind of guys. So he would go golfing with so hit my cousin, and then his dad and my dad, and I think maybe Uncle Denny went too. I don't know. There's a bunch of people, all those guys would go like almost every week. And Scott would get him in to wherever he was the pro at, and they go all the time. But this is where I went. I went to Alaska, not Alaska the state, Alaska, the little tiny city just south of Algoma, Wisconsin.
Oh.
Yep.
And my only golf, and my dad was mad at me because every time I hit the golf ball, it was perfect. I had no power, but I had like perfect technique, and I'd never golfed in my life. He's like, "Of course you would be perfect, you little jerk." And I'm like, "Hey." So on like a par 3, it took me like 4 hits to get it to the green, where normally it would take like 2. So I couldn't hit it that hard. And I was a terrible putter. So I was bad. I had like 8 strokes, 9 strokes. I wasn't any good.
It's not about being good. It's about having fun and having a beer or a cocktail. That's what
it was it was a bonding moment for me and Dad. I still actually have the card for it.
Do you really?
That game that has a scorecard. Yeah, I have it downstairs in my room.
Did you beat Dad or something? Is that why you kept it?
No, I don't. I think he beat. I'm pretty sure he beat me by a lot.
Okay, Dad's
we had a couple where. Here's the funny part. We had a couple old ladies, and this was like 20 years ago. So I was like 26, not 46, right?
Oh, okay.
And Dad was however old he is. What is that? I don't know, 50 something, whatever. And we had ladies who were like in their 60s who were behind us, were waiting for us to finish because I was so bad. So Dad was like, "Just pick it up. Let's keep going. These ladies are getting pissed." So I was like, all right.
It is kind of annoying. You got people riding up your butt. All right. Hey, Bernard's like going crazy here in the chat already. He wants football talk. Rick is here. How you doing, Rick? Rick says Wild Man always used to beat him, that he was pretty good at golf. Dad loves golf. He really does. Bernard's getting a whole bunch of stuff in. He says, Yuck Wilson. He's like, he doesn't want you hating on Rodgers anymore, Ben. There's no reason to
All
at
right,
this
it's
point.
coming. I mean, what?
There's no reason to. Come on. Give the guy a break.
Yeah.
Bernard also hopes that Jones doesn't leave.
Well, it's happening.
He thinks Breeze needs to retire. Bernard's got tons of takes here. Tom Brady still sucks. Breeze needs to retire. Bernard's fired up tonight. Holy crap!
Tom Brady's good, Bernard. You're wrong on that one.
Rick gives us some breaking news that Houston signed Christian Kirksey. So
that was yesterday.
Way to go. Well, it's breaking for me. Either way, it's breaking news for them as well because it's dumb.
The $4.5 million for 1 year.
Dumb.
Good for them.
Their team's really good. He's gonna have a great time down there.
Terrible. Terrible. Okay. All right. There's some stuff that went on. Should we talk about the recent non-signings that are really driving me bonkers? And that's why I said the no pack no. That's why I'm really bummed out. Because what were the two things? A few weeks ago, I said it. Remember how much I have been mad at Brian Gutekunst and how terrible he's been as a GM and all this stuff. And then I said, Gutekunst, if you can get J.J. Watt and Micah Hyde, all's forgiven. You're off my list. And what happened just in the last couple of weeks? J.J. Watt commits to the Cardinals after the Packers don't even really try, apparently. And then last Friday, good thing we didn't have a show or I would have cried. Last Friday, my personal friend, a man that I spent hours talking to about life and love and the Packers and cars and building stuff in Iowa, signs back with the Bills, Micah Hyde, 2-year extension. God. So I still hate Brian Gutekunst. That's the moral of that story. Any thoughts? JJ's thing? Anybody got any thoughts on that?
Well,
did you think we had a shot, Bruce? You really think they were going to make a play?
I think there was a shot. I think there was a shot, but JJ came out and said, he wants to win a Super Bowl, but he doesn't. It was all about the money. I mean, you don't go to Arizona to win a Super Bowl. I mean, I know they have Murray and he's good, but at the same time, I just don't think he's good enough to win a Super Bowl at this point. Their defense isn't good enough. I mean, it's just when he signed there, I was like, yeah, it's all good. So, which is fine. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, that's okay. But was I thinking we were going to sign him? I mean, I wasn't getting my hopes up, and I really didn't think it was going to happen anyway. So it's not really disappointing to me overall. And the other thing you could look at is, yeah, he's a little bit older. It's probably going to be a couple of years, and he's going to be done. So is it a huge loss for us overall? Probably not, especially since Rodgers and Adams are going to be gone after next year anyway. So at this point in time, I think it is what it is. So, and as far as Micah Hyde goes, to be honest with you, I didn't think we would sign him either, but the Bills obviously wanted to retain him, which is, I don't blame him. Why wouldn't you? He was one of your better defensive backs, so why would you keep him? So,
yeah, it's not like he was Kevin King or something.
Right.
So as it turned out of it, I read that article about my man, and this is something we didn't talk about because we met in April of 2015 is when we first started our relationship. And it
was also when you ended your relationship.
Well, maybe for him.
It was a one-day relationship.
Maybe for him, but not for me.
Was it
really the relationship continued?
Maybe it was more like a couple hours, maybe.
Yeah, well, it was a pretty long day.
Hey, we sweat together. We bonded. I have not. That sledgehammer is going to be framed that he touched. Now, but this is the thing. The Packers, the more and more I'm seeing stuff, Aaron Jones stuff, these other things, I just don't like the way the Packers do business in a lot of cases. And it's really starting to bother me as a Packers fan. And as it turns out, we didn't lose out on Micah Hyde this year. We lost him in 2016 offseason because they didn't even try. They didn't even make him an offer. So he says in this article, quote, that experience when the Packers following the 2016 season they told him mid-season they would not re-sign him. And he had to play the rest of the season for the team. It left a scar, quote, left a scar. And now with this is his first contract extension with the team. He can't even put into words what it means to him. If you read this whole article, the ESPN one has the most quotes and stuff like that. You read about how much he cares about it. They talk about how competitive he is. They talk about, the GM said, because he didn't have a great statistical year this last year, right? So the GM said, and they asked, well, you just signed him back right away, a 2-year extension, a little over $9 million a year, okay? And he said, I didn't see any drop off with Micah this year. So I can't say I think he's declining or anything like that. I'm a big fan of Micah Hyde, just what he brings, not only on the field, but in our building. One of the most positive personalities to be around and just a super competitive guy. You wouldn't feel that when you're just talking to him in an interview. He probably doesn't feel competitive in a one-on-one conversation, but when he's on that field, he's one of the most competitive guys, and that's what you love about him. I think he still definitely will play for years in this league if he wants to. Now, a guy who cares about it, a guy
that sounds like
a guy who gives his all.
You just described the number, another 33. The guy who took 33. Yeah, the guy who took 33 after Micah left. That's all the things you just said. And guess what the Packers going to do with that 33? Let him walk. Same thing.
And guess what they're going to do? They're going to keep Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith.
Well, at least Preston's taking less money, sort of.
It just bums me out.
Every play.
It just bums me out. Whatever the hell William Henderson did to that jersey back when he wore it, he screwed everything up.
What are you talking about? Doug Evans got screwed too. They let him walk, and he was a great player.
Fine. Keith Woodside. Whatever Keith Woodside did to that jersey back in 80, whatever. It's been cursed ever since.
What number was Eddie Lee Idry? I love that name, by the way.
He was like 31 or 21, or I don't remember what he was.
I had to look.
He wasn't 30.
You have to look it up. Everybody wants to talk about other stuff.
All right, talk about other stuff. Anyway,
talk about Rodgers taking less money. Bruce, you just mentioned it. We talked about it a little bit before we started. The Packers just restructured 2 guys today, Preston Smith and Adrian Amos. Now, Amos, I don't know why we restructured him. He actually played good. He's the only guy out of those free agents they signed, those 4 guys they signed before 2019 season who played up his contract last year. Yet he's the guy who's got to restructure. Don't get it. Glad he did it for the Packers and for the fans. Preston did restructure, but he's got a bunch of incentives in the contract. That means if he hits the numbers that he hit from the year before, or from 2019, he'll end up getting the $16 million that he's owed. Otherwise, he takes $8 million or something like that. Either way, with those 2 guys restructuring, the Packers have saved enough to get just midget underneath the cap at this point before Wednesday. So they won't have to do anything else. Now, they got no room to sign anybody else. They got no room for any draft picks. So they're still going to have to do more moves somehow. But at this point, only by redoing those 2 guys, they are under the cap, so they don't have to do jack squat when Wednesday hits and the league season starts. But Bruce and I talked about it before. The fact that Aaron Rodgers is making $37.5 million this year. Okay.
Less than Dak Prescott, Ben, but that's fine.
No, not this year. Dak Prescott's only got a $10 million against the cap this year on his contract.
Okay.
Just fine. So you know. So you know.
4 years for.
Matter of fact, we can get it. We should get it. I got a whole bunch of stuff to get into, but I know you got to do some other things. And Devontae Adams making almost $17 million this year, but only $3 million is dead cap space if they trade him or let him go. Now, they could still trade him. Because I was thinking they could never trade him because they trading him would not get him under the cap before, like, because they can't trade him until the league season starts, blah, 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 blah. And as everybody knows, last week I said something out to everybody. Andy Herman, the guy who does a bunch of videos, all of a sudden is talking about Davante Adams. And maybe, he said, don't read this. It's insane. But we could trade Davante Adams and get a bunch of picks and save a bunch of cap space. And who said that 2 months ago? Oh, yeah, this guy. But here's the thing. I'm going to bring it over to Bruce in 1 second. If they do nothing with Rodgers' contract and do nothing with Davante's contract this year and or trade him or whoever or extend him or whatever, it's just showing one thing. The Jordan Love era will begin in 2022 because they will not sign back Davante Adams, and Rodgers will be pissed, and they'll be able to trade him away and only take a $21 million cap hit next year. So what does that say, Bruce? You know what? We were talking about it before.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. The thing is Adams and Rodgers should be the ones that they're focused on extending or restructuring because they're the ones that are the biggest cap hits, along with Zadarius Smith, of course, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, I mean, why are they not focused on those two? Because if they really wanted to keep the two of them, they would do that and they would save a ton of cap money, or they can. Now, could they still do it? I suppose they could, but I mean, we haven't heard anything. We haven't heard any rumors. We haven't heard anything about them doing that. So, to be honest with you, I'd be very surprised if they do anything. The only thing I could possibly see them doing, I honestly agree. I think Adams, I don't know what they're going to do with him, but I could see them extending Rodgers, but I'd be surprised if they do it, especially since they have just recently let Boyle go. And
that's the other thing.
Right. And Love is now the backup quarterback. So, I mean, now in reality, it was probably a good idea because you have to see what Love has. I mean, for crying out loud, you guaranteed him money every single year. His whole contract is guaranteed. So you have to see what the guy has in the first place because you moved up for him. He's a first round pick. He's got to be, if he's not the second guy after 1 year of sitting on the bench, which he should have been the second guy last year if you moved up for him in the first round, then there's a bigger problem. So hopefully he actually does what they think he's going to do. But, I'm very, negative about that and not optimistic about it. But anyway, so long story longer, agreed 100% at this point in time. And I can totally see them wiping everything out with Adams and Rodgers gone next year. They can sign Jair then, and then from there they can get some other draft picks as well as sign other players for agent wise and then start over with Love. I can totally see that happen.
Sounds like it's gonna really go well.
Well, they got to do something. If they don't extend it, if they don't extend those two guys, it's telling everybody should wake up and be like, hey, guess what? They don't give a crap. They're not. Rodgers isn't going to be here past this year. Davante's not going to be here past this year. Not that I want that anyways, but I'm just saying. These guys, if they really wanted them to stay, if they really wanted Rodgers to be the quarterback for a long, long time, like they keep saying, there would be no problem extending him and guaranteeing money and lowering the cap for this season and saving them money so that they can get more stuff and win now. They don't want to win now.
Yep.
They want to move on.
Yep. You don't wait. You don't wait until the last year of their contract for your two best players, and then all of a sudden try to sign them last year. You sign the year before. That's what you do. And if they don't do it this year, you're absolutely right. It's not going to happen because why would Rodgers and why would Adams stay if they know they can get more money somewhere else at that point, especially if they have good years this year?
Do you know if a player retires early, like let's say Rodgers pulls a Favre or whatever, just to get out of the Packers, what happens? Does he get any money? Does he surrender all the money?
Yeah.
He surrenders
all guaranteed money. He just gets the guaranteed.
He gets the guaranteed signing bonus money, or something like that. But some teams, like I remember when when Calvin Johnson retired, the Lions tried to hold money back from him because of something, but they still owed him money, but they tried to keep it away, saying that he voided his contract by retiring or whatever, and they still owe him money, according to him, and he's still pissed about it. That's why he doesn't come back and do anything for the Lions. But apparently Rodgers is better than me, is greater than me. Whatever, Bernard. I'm better than Rodgers at just about everything, except for football and Jeopardy and dating Hollywood starlets and dating driver car people and being a smug jerk face.
Hey,
yeah.
You know what? You're. I think he's a little more likable than you at this point.
I don't think so. I think he's fakier than dog crap. I saw an interview he did. He did some interview with his watch. He had to keep holding his arm up like this to show the watch. I saw it. I don't know if you guys saw that interview. He had to keep holding the watch because it was a watch. It was about the watch. So he had to keep holding his watch. Like, it was really uncomfortably weird. It was very Russell Wilson-y.
Dude.
It felt very Russell Wilson-y.
It's called product placement. You got to do it.
I understand that.
You got to do it.
But he was so fakey, weird. Like, his whole season, his enlightened happiness is just gags.
It's because he's finally with a girl that he likes, and he finally got engaged, dude. He finally found someone who is cool to be with. If you hung around with Danica Patrick for 2.5 years,
I wouldn't do that.
Well, I know, but if you did, and then you had this,
I would never date a woman who's got larger shoulders than I have. I'm sorry. And I don't have very large shoulders, so I'm never dating. I mean, Danica Patrick's got shoulders like a dude.
And where she twisted you into being her first guest on her podcast, so people would actually watch it. Because who wants to watch a podcast hosted by Danica Patrick? Not many people.
Hey, you know what you from Danica, though? I mean, he's got a sweet car, so maybe he learned that from her. You know what I mean?
Does he have a sweet car? I don't know.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
She said he's a good driver. Pretty good driver because he anticipates. I don't know. Apparently the stories were she talked about driving around Green Bay like she was on the racetrack, which I'm sure, I don't know. That must have been an experience for the people on like Highway 41 or whatever. And I think the influence of them, because the people on Highway 41 are like nutso now the way they drive. Anyway, that's a side note. All right, Packer talk. Enough about that nonsense. Okay, Ben, what did you feel? Feel about the Aaron Jones news?
What's that?
Well, I mean, didn't you think? Okay, I understand the Packers never used the franchise tag. The last time was 11 years ago or 12 years ago or whatever. What's that? Number one?
One time. I don't think they've used
Ryan Pickett.
They used it twice.
It on Ryan Pickett,
and then like somebody else like right around that same time.
Sam Shields.
So they never. No, it wasn't Sam Shields. It was like another defensive lineman who wasn't even that good. I don't know why they used it. Anyway, point is, at least it wasn't Dayton Jones or whatever. But the Packers never use it. But they could have used it on Aaron Jones for what? For like $8 million.
I have a question on that though. Is all of that guaranteed and hit the cap though? If you use that, see that's the only thing that I think was the problem is that, you can if you extend him, they could have thrown more of a bonus money or whatever at him and had the cap be less than $8 million this year, for instance, and then you kind of upped it as you go along. So the thing with that, it depends on how you structure the contract. So as far as the actual tag, I think they have to deal with the whole $8 million, and that might have been the problem. There is they don't have any money. Let's be honest, we have no money. So,
you know how they could have?
Right on.
You know what? 17 million minus 3 million. That's a lot of money. You could have signed back Aaron Jones. Just cut Devontae Adams. God damn it.
Yep. And get rid of the
son of a Jesus. There's a lot of things they could have done to bring Aaron Jones back. I got to be honest. I don't know if I'm going to be a Packer fan this year. I can't take this crap. The only good news is that at least they restructured Preston. Let me tell you a secret. Before Preston got freaking restructured, okay, they had 4 players that took up 50% of their salary cap. 4 players took up half the salary cap. Now, with Preston's restructuring, that changed. So now they take up 45% of the salary cap. But still, Rodgers, Adams, and the Smith brothers. Those 4 guys took up 50%. Now they take up 45%. 4 players. How can you win when 4 players taking up half your cap? You can't win. Let me tell you another secret. Are you ready for this one? There's one quarterback in the NFL who's going to be making more money this year on the cap than Aaron Rodgers. One player. Can you name that player? No? I'll give you a hint. If you look in the if you look in the text stream, Bernard said that Rodgers is better. Rodgers is better than him.
Okay. Is it Russell Wilson or what?
It's not Russell Wilson.
Oh, Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is 22% of the Atlanta Falcons salary cap this season.
Wow.
And not only that, the last couple years he's been like that. And who else has been high on their salary cap percentage? Oh, yeah. A high-priced receiver who's hurt all the time. Sound familiar? The only good difference is our quarterback is way the hell better than Matt Ryan. But only Matt Ryan is making more money than Aaron Rodgers this year. That's freaking ridiculous. That's what the Packers are looking forward to, guys. 4-12. 4-12 or 3-13. That's what a crappy team has when you're spending 22% of your salary cap on your quarterback who's aging and stinks. We're spending 20.18% on our quarterback who's not stinky, but he's getting old. 11.5% on a defensive outside linebacker who everybody thinks is the greatest thing in the world because he gets some sacks, doesn't do jack squat else. 9.0% on a wide receiver who gets hurt 3 or 4 times a year. And every time he's hurt, the Packers win all those games.
And we didn't draft anybody to replace him either.
That too.
Hey, finish up because I got a follow up for you.
I mean, just those 3 guys is 40%.
But so
40% on 3 guys.
Think about that though, Ben. What you just said, that you talked about those 4 guys, and that's what the Packers set up. They set the contracts, not the players. Yeah, the Packers set that up. But 2, so you had a key position quarterback, a wide receiver that you needed, that you rely on a lot, fine. And then, okay, fine, you want to spend money on one supposedly impact pass rusher, but they did it with 2 guys at the same position. That's crazy. No other team does that. That was their huge mistake that led them to be in such a bad spot this year, was not just signing one of the Smiths, but both of them in the same offseason and setting up the contracts where that much guaranteed money was going to 2 outside linebackers. And then, you drafted a guy at number 12 at the same freaking position right the same year you signed those 2 guys.
Instead of an inside linebacker.
Blunder, 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 all in a row. And hello, here we are today. Luckily, Preston Smith took less money, but probably only because he didn't have the sacks last year. If he had the sacks, he would have been a Pro Bowler. If he had the sacks, he would have had all the leverage and been like, no, I got my sack numbers. Sack numbers equals outstanding player. Just ask Bruce. If you ever say I got my sacks,
hang on,
and I'm not good.
We'll get to finish with Za'Darius.
All right, go ahead.
I got to say something to Rick. Rick is saying every team has that problem right now. You're wrong, Rick. Not every team. I'll show you why, because I got the numbers right here.
There's some teams that got some money to spend. I saw that.
Okay, exactly. Aaron Rodgers at $37.5 million is 20.18% of the salary cap for the Packers. The only guy higher, like I said, Matt Ryan at 22%. Let's take a look at the best quarterbacks in the NFL and see what their cap space is hitting their team this season. Okay, Dak Prescott just signed a 4-year deal, right? He's only 10% of the salary cap this year because of the way they structured the deal. Because they knew.
Anyway.
I know, but he's still a top freaking 20 quarterback.
No.
Patrick Mahomes, only 13% of the salary cap. Carson Wentz, who everybody says his contract stinks, right? He's only 13% of the salary cap. Tom Brady is 15% of the salary cap. Plus, they extended him today, so I think that might actually dropped a little bit because they extended him for 1 more year, which probably saved him some cap space. Jared Goff, 14%. Matt Stafford, 10%. Jimmy G, 13%. They might cut him, who knows? Now you get to some high ones. Russell Wilson is 17%, so that's pretty close to Rodgers' 20. Kirk Cousins, 16.5% of the Vikings salary cap is Kirk Cousins, but that's still not as high as 20 as Rodgers. And Deshaun Watson is only 8.2%, even though he just signed that big deal a couple years back, because the way they structured it, it's going to hit later on. What I'm saying is this. Are you ready for this? The last 10 Super Bowls, this is what the quarterback percentage was on those Super Bowl teams, winning Super Bowl teams, quarterback percent. Tom Brady last year, 12.6%. Patrick Mahomes the year before, 2.4% of the salary cap was on quarterback. Now, I know that's insane. You can't do it unless you got drafted a guy who's on his rookie contract. Tom Brady the year before that, 12.4. Carson Wentz the year before that, who didn't even play, but he still was 3.6. Tom Brady the year before that, 8.9% of the salary cap on a Super Bowl winning team. Year before that, Peyton Manning, 12.2%. Year before that, Tom Brady, 11.1%. Year before that, Russell Wilson on his rookie deal, 0.6% of the salary cap was on quarterback, starting quarterback for that Super Bowl winning Seahawks team. Year before that, Joe Flacco, 6.6%. Year before that, Eli Manning, 11.8%. Year before that was Aaron Rodgers. I don't have that number, but it was Aaron Rodgers, and he was probably like 10% or who knows what. Bottom line is, not a single one of these guys took up more than 13% of their team's salary cap because the team is what wins Super Bowls, not the quarterback by himself. The team wins the Super Bowls. So when your quarterback takes up 20% of your cap and your starting receiver takes up 10% of your cap and your two outside linebackers take up another 20% of your cap, that's 50%, and you lose because you got no other players on your team. It's not just these other teams. All the other starting teams have, most of their guys are 15 or less percent. The only ones over are Wilson, Cousins, Ryan, and Rodgers. So there's only 4 teams that have quarterbacks taking up more than 15% of their salary cap for this season. That still leaves a lot of wiggle room to work with, 85% of your cap to fill your roster up. So not everybody has that problem, Rick. The Raiders don't. They cut a bunch of guys, saved $45 million this last week, right? Look at the Chiefs. They cut their 2 tackles because they suck in the Super Bowl. And they said, see ya. They got the butts kicked. It's just like the Packers tackles got their butts kicked. And they said, you guys stink. We're cutting you. You make too much money. The Packers do that? No. So whenever you're ready to get into Za'Darius, go ahead. Because he's the guy who needs to be gone. He won't be, but his money is too high.
All right. Should I break the tension or should we go into Za'Darius?
Hey, wait, I got a way to break the tension.
Oh, okay. Because I got a really good one actually too, but that's fine.
Well, you do yours and then I'll add mine.
Just because you just mentioned tackles, it kind of fits, and I'm kind of itching to get it in here. So I figured out I have something to show you. Another reason now, I know I said Lucas Patrick is the best. He might not be the best Packers offensive lineman. David Bakhtiari is probably better, but he's my favorite, and he plays the hardest. But Lucas Patrick is so good that he actually found a use for Billy Turner, and I'm going to show you a highlight play that proves it. So here's a screen share. We're going to do a highlight play that actually shows how good Lucas Patrick is because he found a way to make Billy Turner useful. Here we go. All right. So this is from the Rams game, playoff game with the Packers, right? And we're going to cue this up here in just a second. There we go. All right. This next play is what we're watching at here. Lucas Patrick's right here, right guard, right? Billy Turner's playing left tackle. That's scary just looking at it, but there he is. I want you to watch Billy Turner, and then we're going to pause it a couple times so you can see how Lucas Patrick actually makes him useful on this play. But start out watching Billy Turner, okay? Here we go. There he is, gets back, moving his hands around. Oh, he didn't really block that guy. That guy went inside. Plus, Jenkins was blocking him already. Somehow, Corey Linsley, the center, is way out by the left tackle position, blocking somebody. And then watch Billy Turner. Watch what he does. Patrick's locked up with his guy right here. All right. Now, Linsley's just standing there. Billy Turner's standing in front of the guy Linsley was just blocking, and he lets him go inexplicably. Lucas Patrick continues to block Floyd, his guy, and actually uses Billy Turner in a way that makes him productive. Watch this. That is how good Lucas Patrick is. Just want to watch it full speed here. Now you know what's going to happen. So watch it one more time.
That's how bad freaking Billy Turner is.
You
did something, Billy. Thanks to Lucas Patrick on that play.
You know, if you're gonna restructure somebody or cut somebody, there's another guy. You know, you should be at least restructuring him. Why haven't they restructured him? I mean, I can understand keeping him because of depth, but there's no reason they should be not restructuring him. He's not worth the money right now. Oh, Ah,
I can't.
Hey, mom just retracted her statement.
What she did? Oh, because
Mom,
she
you
said
can't retract your
numbnuts.
statement. You said numbnuts. You said he's a numbnuts.
Mom, she must have.
That's her
Maybe
word. She says numbnuts all the time now. I don't get it.
YouTube
That's
might
her
have
thing.
sent her a message on that. Maybe she
That's
got
true.
a
They might
flag.
have. Maybe they restricted her. But you're right, Mom. Jason, did you hear about that? Tim Boyle. They're just letting him go. They didn't put a tender on him or nothing. Not even like a little small tender.
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
Which means
I heard it tonight on this show.
okay.
That's breaking news for me. That sucks. I like Tim Boyle. He's good. I think he's a good backup quarterback. I never thought he was going to be the next starter like Dad, but I thought he was a good backup quarterback.
better than
You gotta let me share video.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do that yet. All right. Bruce, give us a nugget. Can you set up? You want to set the table tell people what happened to you on Facebook.
Yeah.
Please.
So they had a story about Zadarius Smith and how how great he was, I guess. And so I went on there and I basically just, I saw everybody talking about how it was, he's the best player on our defense and, just so awesome. And, he has had 24 sacks in the last 2 years and blah, blah, blah. And so I came on and I said, no, that's not accurate. Look at the tapes. He doesn't play the run well. He doesn't set the edge well, and he doesn't play 110% on every play. And of course, people just went nuts. They just ripped on me and said, oh, he was the most double teamed, outside linebacker in the league, and go back and look at the tapes, all this type of stuff. And I'm just like, every time somebody came back, I tried to come back and say, no, that's not accurate. Go look at the games and you will see what I'm talking about. And they just came back with this same old stuff. And I, of course, said, you all have rose-colored glasses on and you think he's great and he's not. And, I did say, I must admit, I probably said something that kind of got everybody all jacked up. And I said, you people don't know anything about football. And I probably shouldn't have said that because when I said that, I was like, wow.
Truth, Bruce. It's truth.
So, it is, but ultimately, that's the reason why they got all excited about it, I guess, because I was saying they didn't, which is accurate, but
I don't think that was the only reason. All right, let me just set that. You're being a little too kind about the situation here. Setting the table is Packers did what they do in the offseason when there's nothing going on. They made one of highlight one of our great player posts, blah, 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 just for a little social media fodder. Okay, so they put it out there. So Darius Smith, first Packer in his first 2 seasons to have this many sacks and blah, blah, blah. He's the greatest thing ever, Pro Bowler, and he's this and that, and he's an all-pro player this year, and And even Larry McCarron in his little weekly video had to talk up Zadarius Smith as well, except he showed 3 plays, all from the Atlanta game, which is a terrible offensive line, and all plays were when Zadarius Smith was playing inside, going single blocked against a guard, not a tackle, who are supposed to be better pass blockers, a guard. And that's another thing that I think is interesting about Zadarius Smith compared to other outside linebackers and their statistics and their production is that he gets to line up wherever the heck he wants and find a favorable matchup against the crappiest offensive lineman if he wishes. It might usually is a guard instead of a tackle. So if he's got a good tackle he's supposed to face, he's like, oh, switch with me, Gary. Switch with me, Preston. Go outside. I'm going to go inside now. And I'll go against this guy that's easier to rush against, and I might have a better chance of getting my numbers and my sacks and my money. Anyway. So then Bruce just pointed it out. And yeah, you did say that. But right away, they're like, get out of here. They're telling you to get out of here. All these other sort of things. Oh, yeah, you know so much and blah, blah, blah. And all you did was make a very clear statement talking about those keys. He's not as good as you think he is. He takes plays off. He doesn't set the edge well on the run. Those things are all true. But most people do not watch football and watch what the lines are doing or the outside linebackers or the guys in the line of scrimmage are doing most plays. They just see Zadarius get a sack once in a while and his celebration, blah, 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 his gobble celebration or whatever. That's what they see. So
they watch the football is what they do.
Yeah.
They don't watch the plays.
Which I get. And a lot of times I watch the football too, But then I'll go back and watch what happened on the play when I can. Ben's got some videos.
Let's watch. I did some research for you guys. I
Thanks,
have
Ben.
every single sack by Zadarius Smith this season. So let's take a look at the first sack by Zadarius. This was in the first game of the year. If you look at this lineup, there are 3 Viking linemen here and Delvin Cook. Packers have Kenny Clark, who's lined up on the outside shoulder of the center. You got Preston on the outside way out here, so he's got the farthest way to get to the quarterback. And Zadarius is snuck in right here, right there. And I haven't really seen this. They didn't do this much all year. This is one of the first time, or I don't know how many times they do this again, but this is a really pretty good, aggressive. All 3 of these guys go at quarterback type of thing, right? And Preston takes to the outside, and these 2 guys get messed up, and Zadarius gets a clean shot through the middle, pretty much. And that's how he gets his sack here. And I didn't slow these down, so you just got to watch them in full fast motion. But I mean, he goes straight for the tackle, and the tackle is looking at Preston, thinking he's got to block Preston, but they do like a stunt. So watch him go straight.
You know who's double teamed here? Gary is. Gary's
he's out here. Yeah. He's got a tight end and tackle on him.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's got nobody to block. But if you look here, Kenny Clark is going to the inside. Zadarius is going to the inside. I don't know what they're doing. The tackle's kind of looking at Preston. And 65, who's a terrible guard, just doesn't even get a hand on Zadarius. So Zadarius gets to shove 75 out of the way because he's worried about Preston. And that's how he gets through. And Delvin Cook, of course, doesn't block anybody because he's got 0 pass protection. And Zadarius creams him up. But either way, he was fast, aggressive, and he made a play. Like, that wasn't, like, terrible. Like, for as much hate as, we're not hating on him, but I mean, as much as we say, hey, he takes plays off and blah, 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 that wasn't a bad play. I mean, it was a good design. I like the way they lined up all 3 of those guys on the same side. I thought that was cool.
But he was a beneficiary of the other 2 guys right next to him on that play.
Well, it was the offensive line screwed up.
And sometimes
that's what it was.
Sometimes that happens.
Well, can I talk about double teams quick too? Since a lot of them said he was the most double teamed, outside linebacker. He wasn't this year, by the way.
I didn't think so. I was like, what are they talking about?
JJ Watt was this year.
Yep. JJ Watt
actually, JJ Watt was the most double teamed defensive end or outside linebacker. They kind of lump them together in a way. Only 30% of the time he was double teamed. So if he was the top double teamed defensive end or outside linebacker, I mean, what happened the other 75% of the time, even if it's 25% of the time by Zadarius Smith, what happened to the other 75%? I mean, who cares if he's the most double teamed? I mean, if 30% of the time is the top double team defensive end or outside linebacker, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all as far as that goes. So that's number one. He was the most double teamed in 2019. I found a Packers Wire story that on December 12, 2019, Seth Walder from ESPN said he was one of the most double teamed or the most double teamed in 2019 and was one of the best at beating double teams supposedly in 2019. Well, that's all great and dandy, but when last year he was 46 in pass rushing production from what am I trying to say? PFF, Focus Football. What am I trying to say?
Bruce, I have to tell you one thing though. I have to tell you
Football Focus. 46 in pass rushing productivity, 17th in pressures, and he's making $22 million in cap space, or he's hitting a $22 million in cap. So I'm sorry, people. You don't pay somebody $22 million that hits the cap, and he's 46 in pass rushing production.
You pick Kyler Fackrell's
and can't play the run and doesn't set the edge, and is a lazy piece of most of the time.
He did not have nearly the same amount of energy and effort in 2020 as he had showed in 19. And I know that was his first chance to start. That was the first time he was an official starter on a team. He had just signed a big contract. He was highly motivated with a new team.
And didn't show up in the box score in both NFC title games.
Yeah. That's another troublesome thing. He was a guy that openly said he was not ready to play in the NFC Championship game in 2019. And he certainly did not look ready to play in 2020. And not only not ready to play, but never found himself in a position where he was playing the way you need him to play in either of the whole entire games in the NFC Championships. But Bruce, that is very different from what the people in the Packers Facebook comments said to you, that he was double teamed like 50% of the time. They claimed.
Yep. In the top double team, JJ Watt 30% of the time he was double teamed. So yeah, no, he wasn't double teamed 50%.
Okay.
He sure wasn't double teamed on this play. This is his sack against Detroit in week 2. If you look right here, he's lined up once again at defensive tackle. You're going to see a familiar sight with a lot of his sacks, by the way. A lot of them are against guards, just so you know. I just want everybody to know that. On this play, you're going to watch him. Okay, now there was a stunt. The offensive line picked up the stunt and switched so that now Preston's got the inside track here. If you look here, there's also a stunt on this side. Gary went, if I rewind it, I'm going to rewind it so you can see what Gary does. Because Gary bull rushes into 3 guys and knocks them all out so that Dean Lowry can get around to the outside. It's actually pretty awesome. Watch Gary. Look at him. See that? That's how you do it. That's how you do it. And it's Dean Lowry to get to the outside, and now there's this big jumble of dudes. And he's got Dean Lowry and Gary coming at him from this way. Preston is getting held here by this guy. And look at Za'Darius is up. Look how he's upright, bent backwards. What's he going to do with his back to the guy? He's not even trying anymore because he saw Stafford go that way. And now he sees he comes back. Look, you got to jump in his hip and his step there. And see that? He knows it's time. Oh, he came back because all the other guys did the work. And now I'm just standing here and I can clean up the mess. And they give him a sack. He didn't even bring him down, really. And you'll notice that another thing, too. He got a lot of sacks, but he didn't even bring the guy down. So, was that a Preston Smith sack?
Gary dove in on his legs.
Yeah, you could have given Gary half that sack, for sure.
He didn't get it, though.
If that was Reggie White back in the day, that was definitely
you don't want to get into Reggie White. We don't get into Reggie White now. Nichols not here to do the Reggie White sack one. So what do you guys think about that?
95% of the time this next year, there's a problem.
Well, maybe he'll have the Aaron Jones syndrome where they only play him 60% of the time because they're stupid.
Because Preston Smith, they kept him because let's restructure Preston Smith, who had 4 sacks and how many tackles? 30. I mean, I'm done.
Right.
Preston was he had more consistent effort than Za'Darius.
I will give you that. Yeah, I agree. He does.
Hey, here's another one. You guys, I got them all. We're gonna watch them all. I don't care. Right. You guys keep talking.
No,
let's keep talking. I'll just keep playing them. We got Za'Darius. He's right. Guess where he is? Oh, he's lined up at a defensive tackle again. What a coinky dink. Another sack at a defensive. That's 3 now. 3 times in a row where he's not the outside edge rusher. He's inside rusher, and that's where his first 1, 2, 3 sacks are coming from.
And he's not even getting doubled. He's just going 1-on-1 against the guard.
I think he might get doubled on this play.
Oh, because the running back's there? That's
okay.
Not.
That guy just fell down.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. It might have been a good bull. I mean, I'll give him a good bull rush on it.
Sure.
I mean, he did run him over. He ran him over. You got to give him credit for that.
But context is it's the Atlanta Falcons offensive line.
Yeah, but still, that was a good play. That was a good play. You got to I'll give him credit for that. Give him credit for that,
O-line.
You guys. Come on.
Okay, but Atlanta O-line just.
You know if these were all third downs too?
No, they weren't all third downs.
Okay.
No.
I just wanted to know. Where he could pin his ears back.
I could probably tell you what it is if I look at the thing really good, but
I got some stats for you. I'll get into those.
Next one's going to be third down.
Between videos, I can give you a couple of stats.
Okay, give me some stats.
All right, first of all, let's take a look at a couple of key things from Za'Darius Smith. Now, he, of course, we talked about his stats. His general stats look similar, right? 55 combined tackles both years, 13.5 sacks in 2019, and 12.5 sacks in 2020. So same amount of tackles, only 1 less sack. So when you look at it just at that, you're like, whoa, yeah, he had just as productive of a year in 2020 as he did in 2019. But that is not true at all. Because are we concerned about the sacks? What's more important, sacks or pressure on the quarterback? pressure on the quarterback. And he had a very good season in 2019 with pressuring the quarterback. A couple other key things. Zadarius Smith, 872 snaps in 2019, 858 snaps in 2020. 84% of the defensive snaps he played. Okay, so basically the same percentage of snaps both years. 19, he had 37 quarterback hits, 23 quarterback hits in 2020. Back when he was not even a full-time starter and only had 690 snaps in 2018 with Baltimore, he had 25 quarterback hits. So more quarterback hits than he had all of last year. And when you look at that, like QB hits is another big one, also pressures. But let's talk about per game, okay? In 2019, Zadarius Smith had 2.31 quarterback hits per game. So over 2 times a game, he was hitting the quarterback, which is good. Last year, it dropped all the way down to 1.44 quarterback hits per game. In 18, before he was on the Packers, he had 1.56 hits per game as a part-time guy. Just as comparison against one of the best guys, TJ Watt had 2.25 hits per game in 2019, just behind Zadarius. Last year, he had 2.73 hits per game. Jesus. God, I wish we drafted that guy. Okay. I got a couple other stats. I'll throw them in later, too.
Okay, here we go. Here's another sack against Atlanta. And guess where Zadarius Smith is lined up? Oh, yeah, defensive tackle. Yeah. He's right here. And Preston's on the outside again. And this is the one that bothers me. I don't know how they can give him a sack on this. He beats his guy, but he doesn't actually sack him.
He's got the finger up. He got the finger up. That's how he got the sack.
I know, but Ryan got away, but they still gave him the full sack. Even though Ryan got away and then got creamed by Kenny Clark, who was right in front. So look at it. So, I mean, this guy, I don't know what this guard. He can't. I mean, Zadarius has got a quick move. And if you're a crappy guard, yeah, he kicks us at butt. He just did. And it was good. It was fine. I mean, he was a speed rush. By the way, look who's out here.
Yeah.
Just so you know. Just so you know. Anyways, and also, here you go. Who's this guy? Kiki, another guy who's awesome. Look at that.
Okay. Matt Ryan eluded him. That's pretty good.
Matt Ryan eludes him. And he doesn't grab on and he doesn't hang on to him. Matt Ryan got away and then fell down because Kiki was right there, and he's like, "All right, I'm just gonna fall down."
Okay, so then that's minimum a half a sack, maybe.
But they gave him a full sack.
So that's a sack less we've already found, right there.
But he put the finger up after the play.
Yeah, he put the finger up. That counts as a sack if he puts. He was like,
"Bro, I got him again. Z strikes again."
So, but he made a great move.
He did.
You got to give him that
against a terrible guard, terrible offensive line. That's another thing. Here, consistent. Let me give you a number about consistency too, right? Because if you're a top paid guy, we talked about quarterback pressures being really important and quarterback hits and consistency, right? Like you want consistency because a lot of teams, you can have good players that when you go against the terrible offensive lines, they'll have a great game, right? And then the sack totals at the end of the year look pretty good. But then what are they doing across the whole season? Okay, in 2020, Zadarius Smith had, or let's say 2020, Zadarius Smith had 9 games where he had less than 2 quarterback pressures. He's on the field 84% of the defensive snaps. This isn't quarterback hits. This is pressures.
What year was that?
This last season, 9 of the games. Only 7.
Week 1, week 3, week 5, week 7. Week, I don't know, against Philly, against Detroit. Actually, the last 5 games of the year, including the 2 playoff games. So that's the last 7 games of the year. He had 1 or less quarterback pressures. I got it right here.
Did he have any in the NFC title game?
He had 1.
In 2019.
No, quarterback hit. That's quarterback hit. Quarterback hits.
Sorry, I'm just talking about pressures. 9 games. So over half the games, he had less than 2 pressures on a quarterback. And he's on the field rushing almost every time there's a chance to rush. In 2019, he had only 5 games where he had less than 2. Okay.
Yeah.
On top of that, in 2020, so I told you 9 games where he had less than 2. He had 5 of his quarterback pressures in the Atlanta game and 3 in one game against the Bears. So 8 of his total quarterback pressures for the year came in those 2 games against those 2 terrible offensive lines. It's, again, consistency. A guy that's making that much money, he needs to be pressuring the quarterback when you're playing the crappy teams and when you're playing the good teams.
Here's sack number 3 against Atlanta. Though the last one, like you said, might not have been. Guess where he is? Oh, he's lined up inside again on a guard. The same guy he beat the last time. And he beats this guy like a drum again. Look at that. Bull rush, spin, gets away, big sack. It was a great play.
That's a great play. That's good.
I guess, but it's a great play against an inferior player.
Exactly.
So he needs to make those plays. He's a big time play. He's going a speed rush against an inside guy on on 1st and 10, but they're losing.
And that's not the guard that started the game. That's a backup right there.
Look at that. I mean, he fell down. I mean, that's just.
But that is also not their starter because the guy they had in previously was not white or was white. And this guy is not white. So that's their backup guard that your Pro Bowler, highly paid guy is going against. He needs to win like that against that caliber player.
Yeah. So what are all these things telling us? So far, I got more. We got more to watch. But like you guys, Bruce, you need to talk. You haven't talked in a while. Tell me what you're thinking. What are we noticing here? So far, every sack has been from the defensive interior.
Well, I think yeah, you're seeing that, but then you're also seeing that, which means he's not going against, the best tackles in the game, which usually they're on his side, right? Maybe that's why they move him inside because they know they can't beat it. He can't beat the best tackles in the game. I don't know, but we see that. But then with Jason saying that he obviously is not consistent, and that was going to be my question, and I think Jason already answered it. Is that during against good teams, he's not necessarily consistent, and against not so good teams and not so good offensive lines, he has good games. So his numbers are inflated when he's really not playing up to potential and playing to the $22 million that we're paying him and a cap that he is. I mean, ultimately, again, restructure, or you need to cut him and you need to find somebody that's actually going to do what they need to do to help us win a Super Bowl. And he's just not going to do that because he's proven it in the NFC title games. He's not getting it done.
Rick has a good comment. He says it's telling us that Z needs to play Atlanta every week.
Yeah, well,
if only, then he'd be the most productive player of all time.
All right, so this is his 6th sack of the year, guys.
All right,
he's now playing on the outside pass rusher, on a tackle. But not only is it a tackle, there's also, I think there's a tight end out here too.
Yep.
Okay. The tight end goes out in motion. What I want you to watch is, don't watch Zadarius at first. Watch the 3 guys here and watch them get pressure, which forces Deshaun Watson right in up front, and Zadarius is just standing there getting his butt kicked, and then he gets the easy sack. He didn't do anything on this play. He got luckier than crap. Look at that. Look at Kiki. That's Kiki again, by the way, right here, destroying guys.
Beat 2 guys.
He's the guy killing everybody. And Zadarius is getting blocked way back here. And Kenny Clark, who also was pathetic, that's his first game back, so from being injured or whatever. And look there.
Runs right into him.
He just ran right into him. He didn't do anything. But that's a sack for Zadarius, who made the play. And look at him. He's eating. Now I want. Yeah. So I'll watch it from this angle. Watch Kiki. Look at him. Poof. Now here's the part I want you to watch. Right.
And Watson didn't even go down again. He didn't even tackle
there.
him.
Look at this right here.
Oh, yeah.
What does that body language tell you from Preston Smith? That's a guy who knows I'm working hard, and I'm watching the guy who's slacking it get all the credit. See that? That's what that hands on my hips is. I'm tired from working hard, and Kiki, he's up looking this way. Only one guy, Montravius Adams, who's just happy to be on the field, is going to celebrate with Zadarius. The other guys are like, "Oh, why are we working so hard?" I thought that was Kenny Clark. It was Montravius who got his butt kicked. These 2 guys are the guys who made that play, not this guy. But this is the guy rolling on the ground. Oh, I'm Zadarius. I'm so good. No.
Kiki doesn't have to do anything. He just whipped like 3 guys in that play.
I know. Kiki's awesome. I'm telling you, Kiki is like one of my. I said it during the season. He's like he kind of became like my favorite defensive player. It's crazy.
God, think if we had Kiki, Ty Summers on the field.
Summers,
More?
baby.
Never know.
Oh.
Ty Summers may be on the field more this year.
He's going to
Thank
have to
God.
be.
I hope so.
I'm hoping this new guy is smart enough to figure it out. But you guys got to talk in between while I'm getting these videos ready.
I mean, the point. Okay, here's another thing to just think about. Okay, and it's, this is the one thing I don't like about how pass rushers would talk about this. Clay Matthews would say this too back when he was on the Packers. They'd say, "Oh, sacks come in bunches. They come in bunches." Well, the reason they usually come in bunches is because you get one of these crappy offensive lines you get to play against, and then you chew them up. And that's why you get sacks in bunches, dude. But I want consistency out of a guy I'm paying that much to, that's his specialty. What else does he do? Like, come on. He's not a good run defender. He doesn't drop back into coverage. He doesn't tackle well. What else does he do? It's that. So give me that consistently. If that's your only thing that you're supposed to be, it's your calling card. And he didn't even do that. Like, come on, man.
You know what's funny about you saying sacks come in bunches? I don't know if you remember this at all, but during this game, Za'Darius was always on going up against the right tackle, and Preston was over here going against the left tackle. And Preston had a sack, and he had that pressure that led to the interception for Raven Green or whoever it was. And there was, right before this play happened, Za'Darius told Preston to switch spots with him. And so then Za'Darius could go over here against this left tackle who was getting his butt kicked by Preston all game. And then let's watch and see what happens after Za'Darius told Preston to switch. I mean, he kicked his butt. But that's because he watched Preston kick that guy's butt all game. And he was like, wait a minute, I want a sack. And that was his only sack of the game, by the way. I mean, that tackle. I don't even know why he's out there. That guy's pathetic. Freaking terrible. He makes freaking Billy Wagner look good, or whatever. Ricky Wagner look like
Billy Wagner.
I gotta mix them. You can kind of mix them together. They're kind of the same guy.
And of course, Preston Smith is in coverage, which makes sense.
That's probably it. Man.
But that's one of those ones where, he looks amazing on that play. But was he really that good? Or was that guy just absolutely freaking terrible? And I don't know what to say about that.
That was pretty pathetic effort by an offensive lineman right there. I mean, Z did his standard, arm move, swim over, which a lot of times he just gets stuffed on. You do it against that guy, you look like a superhero. I mean, whatever, but it's fine. There's going to be some of that, of course. I mean, I don't want to say that, okay, the guy's still in the NFL. He beat a guy in the NFL. Great. But he's also one of the top paid guys at his position. So he better do that against that guy.
Yeah.
A couple other things while you queue it up. Just recall this. Now, the Packers know what Za'Darius Smith has been. I
don't think they know.
They do know, Ben, because Mike Pettin. Okay. When Mike Pettin makes public comments and Matt LaFleur makes public comments, they made comments to Za'Darius Smith privately before they went to that step. And then you heard Pettin talk about, oh, yeah, Z wants to rush all the time. I got to, have him doing his assignment. Make sure he does his assignment. And then Matt LaFleur repeatedly talked about energy. We need more from our leaders. Guys not doing their assignments. Like, that's the head coach and the defensive coordinator calling Z out for things that we know he wasn't doing. And they said some stuff to him on the practice field, in the meetings, during film room, following games, way before they took that step. So the Packers know. They just got too much money tied up in the guy.
Yeah, well, this play here, Za'Darius is right here. Okay. This is one of those ones. This is Gary, Preston. They collapse the outside. Preston's getting double teamed, by the way. Kenny Clark getting no pressure at all again. But because of the pressure from here and the guy's not open, there's good coverage. This is Jake Loughton of Jacksonville, who's a rookie quarterback, right? He don't know what's going on. He pump fakes and then steps up right into Zadarius' waiting arms because he's playing inside again. And it's not like he did anything great on that play. It's that the pressure got there. And he was the beneficiary of that, of just a solid collapsing of the pocket. It wasn't like, and he was just able to spin off his guy really quick because that guy behind him didn't know the quarterback stepped up.
Yeah, he got stuffed by that guard. He didn't go anywhere.
It wasn't like when you watch the two previous plays, we saw Kingsley Kiki destroy two dudes and cruise right past them. That's not what happened there. That was a collapsed pocket, and one guy was the beneficiary of it. Even though he was probably the guy who did the least. Well, no, Kenny Clark did the least on that play, but that's another guy we should talk. Ugh. Oh my God, all that money on him too. But I don't know what to say about that. It's one of those.
John Turner just came on. He asked if the Packer under the cap now. They are. We kind of covered that with the restructuring, just barely. Right now, we're just kind of doing a review of Zadarius Smith and how trying to set the record straight on reality for him based on the fact that people think he's so awesome. And Bruce got lambasted on Facebook for questioning the awesomeness of Zadarius Smith and actually just trying to tell people the truth. Packers fans railed on Bruce in the Facebook.
Well, Bruce, how many? I mean, there are some plays. Let's be honest. How many plays do you think out of so far? I've shown you 8 sacks of his, right? Or 9, I don't remember. How many do you think were actually good plays by him? 2? Yeah, like 2.
Yeah.
But he was just guy in the right spot.
Yeah, ultimately it was, and I realized that it's a team game, and sometimes you're going to have that, and your insides guys sometimes help with creating sacks and things like that. But yeah, I mean it's definitely telling when out of the 8 sacks that you've shown or 9 sacks that you've shown, only 2 of them he really beat his guy and did what he was supposed to do. We could go on all night about this. I think it's just it just doesn't make any sense to me why people think he's so good, but ultimately it just comes down to numbers and sacks, and that's what people look at. And we know that's not what it's all about. So.
Bruce, if he was making $9 million a year, you would say
I would be okay with that. Absolutely, I would be okay with that.
But he's not. He's making $22 million.
Exactly. That's the difference.
Yeah.
So
here's his sack causing a fumble against Chicago.
And where is offensive line?
Defensive tackle again against the crappy guard. Are you seeing the quinky dink on every one of these? He's doing the same thing that Kingsley Kiki does, except not as good. He bull rushed him right into it. Now, that was a great play. He used his strength, beat a crappy guard, caused a fumble. It was awesome. So that I'll give him another third play of good play. And it was a turnover in the score. And that was like you said, Jace, like in the NFC Championship, you were waiting. Where is Zadarius' patented one play where he does something, right? Well, that's what it looks like. That's when he does his one play. That's what it looks like. He does a one thing, and you're like, hey, he did one thing. All right. And it was crazy and good. And it happens every now and again. And that's what that was. But normally, he doesn't do that.
Clay Matthews used to have plays like that too.
But he also gets like more sacks and crap.
Right. But the difference is Clay Matthews was hustling on almost every play until like his last season.
And Clay Matthews could play the run.
Yeah.
He did a better job setting the edge, and he was a much smaller guy.
He played the run a lot better than Z Smith played the run. Put it that way.
And he's a much smaller guy.
Now here's one. He gets a sack because he's going up against another rookie quarterback. Because by this point, Carson Wentz is out of the game. And this is Jalen Hurts. And Jalen Hurts just takes the ball and rolls out, and it's supposed to be a play-action play. And none of these offensive linemen block anybody. And Zadarius gets a clean shot at him, and Jalen Hurts runs out of bounds 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage, and Zadarius Smith gets a sack because he was the closest guy to him. That's a sack. No, serious. Here he is. Look. If he would have, he didn't have to run out of bounds there. He beat him to the edge. He could, if he would have stayed inbounds and tiptoed the sidelines, it would have never been a sack. So that's a gift sack that Zadarius Smith got that he should have never gotten.
That shouldn't be a sack. That should just be
a sack because it was 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage.
Jeez.
That's a sack. At least he was hustling on that play.
Well, now it's down to 10.5 sacks. In reality, it's 10.5. So let's keep going. Maybe we're going to be down.
All right, I'm telling you, I had fun. I watched all these plays today. I find them all. I was like, all right, where's the next sack? Okay, well, let's see what this one is.
If you took all the time to find all those plays, we'll go through them. I don't care how long this takes.
Hey,
that's why we started early. I knew there was going to be a lot to cover here because
it didn't take that long, actually.
No, but I knew I was going to have to get my feelings out about Micah Hyde, and then we got to cover Z Smith, and we had other stuff going on.
Yeah. All right, so this is he got a 0.5 sack for this, which blows my mind that he got 0.5 sack on this. Well, let's watch and see what happens. I don't remember where he is. Where is he? I think he's on the outside right here.
Yep.
I don't know what happens, but this is also against Jalen Hurts, rookie quarterback. Okay. He was the last guy to pile on, and he got a half sack on that. With who was the other guy? Preston Smith got the other half, apparently, who was also on the outside. Even though it looked like Dean Lowry and Kenny Clark did all the work, but whatever. Let's see what it looks like from this angle. I'm going to stop it a couple times. All right, here's another dumb thing the Packers always do, where they all double team and do stunts to the open other side and give an open lane for the guy to run. The only good news is Christian Kirksey's standing here, and Savage is standing here, and that's the only reason why I think Jalen Hurts didn't come crazy running out of there, because he sees Kirksey standing right here. But that's dumb. They do that all the time. They leave a big hole for the quarterback to run through, and against like Russell Wilson or somebody like that, that would just kill him.
They're very undisciplined on their pass rush.
So now you got Dean Lowry, Z, and Preston all hit him at the same time.
Yeah, okay. I see why they gave him a half there, I guess. I mean,
it's a half sack, but it's
Dean Lowry got none of that love, by the way. Preston and Zadarius got it, but Dean Lowry didn't get it. But whatever. But that was his 1 half sack that he got this year.
Wow. That was one of his better plays, I'm going to say.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Because he actually had some movement upfield and then collapsed inside, so he did something.
And actually gave effort a little bit longer than normal.
Yeah.
Well, when he sees a quarterback, he usually gives effort.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, where is he on this one? He's over here. He's on the other side.
Yep.
This is against the Panthers and Teddy Bridgewater.
Oh, boy. He can't move too much. What? Did that guy even try to block him?
No. He just he actually schooled that guy pretty bad. So that's another great play. I mean, he's half the sacks. He's getting on the edge. Look how far. Look at how far out. Yeah, look at that. This guy's got he's really got and it's 1st and 10. Like if I was Teddy Bridgewater, I would change this to a freaking delay handoff right now.
Right.
I mean, good God, look at all the holes here.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's so far out there.
Oh my God, the Panthers look terrible.
That was it a great play? Was it a great play by him? I guess. I mean, he made the play, sort of.
That was a sack against that guy.
I mean, when you watch Rashawn Gary's sacks, they look a lot different. He doesn't get these cheap, lucky sacks like that.
Did he have any sacks against any good teams?
No.
I haven't seen him matched up against one Pro Bowl guy yet that he's gotten a sack against.
Isn't that interesting?
For a guy that he's what is he ranked in pay, Bruce, at his position? Do you know?
Probably top 5 or 6, I think.
He's got to be, honestly, I think he's top 3, but I don't have that in front of me. He
hasn't gone against. I haven't seen him record one of these sacks against a Pro Bowl offensive lineman yet.
This is his last sack of the year. Was against Tennessee. And guess where he's lined up? D tackle again. Stand up D tackle. So he's going up against the guard again. Mm-hmm. I think they do some kind of weird stunt thing. but I don't remember exactly. But let's take a look and see what happens here. Yeah, they do a stunt, but his guy just totally whiffs on him, and he just splits him. And then Gary comes around this way. But I mean, that was a fast move right there.
That was effort. That was yep.
But also Gary's there. No, Gary did not get a half sack on that.
What?
Zadarius Smith. Zadarius got all of that. It just says sack Zadarius Smith.
Oh, look, and he told Kenny Clark, go over there. And he's telling, he's telling him what to do. Defensive captain, I want my sack. They didn't even try to block him.
He didn't even touch him.
That was not a.
Didn't even touch him.
He's third.
Wow. Any professional football player could have beat that guy. Any defensive pass rusher could have beat that particular guard on that particular play.
Bruce just said he's the third highest paid guy.
Yeah, the only guys that are better or higher than him is Khalil Mack, which is
he's a loafer too.
Another story.
I'd be
and
pissed.
Von Miller. Von Miller is the other one.
I'm surprised Von Miller's not cut yet.
So,
from what I hear, he's going to get cut, but who knows? That's what that Brandon Perna guy from that. You ever watch that guy?
Rick says
that's good sports.
No. Rick says, unlike Turner, who hasn't shown much of any upside, Z has the potential to be good. That's frustrating.
True.
He does.
Right. He does.
He does.
He's got a quick move. It's all about effort on him.
And he's a big, strong guy. He's 275 pounds. You see how muscular he is. He's got decent speed for a guy at that size. It's just about effort and consistency. But in the NFL, if you want to be a great player, isn't that what makes great players? It's not talent. Almost everybody has talent. It's consistency, and consistency comes from effort. Look at my dude, Lucas Patrick, who doesn't have all those tools and skills, but he gives it his all, right? He would kill to have the athleticism Zadarius Smith has or some of these other dudes have.
No, that
was a nice inside move.
Yeah.
The tackle was terrible. That was the playoff sack he had this year. 77. Is that Whitworth? Is he still around?
Clarkson the inside.
He just let him go. Okay, now why did he let him go though? Well, they had a good stunt on that play. Watch this.
They double teamed Christian Kirksey with the back and him. The Packers face a blitz like that or a move like that, and the back just picks up the outside guy. The tackle doesn't go running out there chasing Christian Kirksey. I don't know. I think
that's the back's fault right there. I think he should have been going inside on
that inside.
Well, it's a miscommunication between these two players.
Mm-hmm.
But why doesn't the guard want to? I mean, the center's got his guy. Why doesn't the guard want to make any effort to try to fill that hole either? It doesn't make any sense. Good for the Packers, but dumb. Yeah. Anyway.
So those are all the sacks, but I want to show two more Zadarius Smith plays.
Oh, these might be the best ones.
They are the best ones.
The main point is that we're trying to illustrate is we're not just hating on Zadarius Smith. We're just saying he's not worth the money he's getting paid. And he's not as good as people, the Packers, hundreds of fans who lambasted Bruce would make you believe he is. He's just not. This is the truth. This is who he is.
What I should have done is I should have posted the Brews Bros in that blog is what I should have said and join us to see what Zadarius Smith is really like. And then we could have gotten a lot of thumbs down.
We'll probably get a couple here. Bernard is mad at us. We got to stop.
We're not hating. We're just showing the truth, man. We're not hating, Bernard.
Let's watch. Look at this guy. What do you think he is? 5'7", like 200 pounds, maybe.
I think he's 192 or 198.
Is this the one where he gets blocked by a slot receiver or something?
No, it's worse than that. Oh. He gets face planted by a little running back.
Oh,
face planted by a little running back in a playoff game. Can you believe that?
He was unblocked on the play, right?
No, he did a spin move.
He spun out. But
that's pathetic.
That's sad.
270 pound got face planted by a 200-pound running back. How does that even happen? That's your $21 million right there. That's just. I mean, look at this. I got it slow motion because it's so funny. Look at that.
That's where you go low, dude.
Jesus.
That's awesome.
That's just sad, man. It makes me want to cry.
That's a perfect example of his bad technique all season long because he's always too high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why he would get stoned on a bunch of his and just stuffed on a bunch of his pass rushes. But also in that case, if you go low at the guy's legs, you probably take him out. But if you're standing way up here like that, yeah, you're kind of susceptible. You're exposing yourself to that sort of thing, and you look pathetic. And I'm sure he should have caught a lot of heck in the film review after that game.
Here you go. Here's the play Bruce was just talking about.
Oh, no.
270 pounds of Darius Smith against 198 Robert Woods. And you watched how he just now. And here's the other important part about this, guys. This is a running back, not a quarterback. So if he gets a tackle in the backfield, it's not a sack. Okay. Remember how we watched him school all these big offensive linemen, right? I just showed you his sacks, right? He's playing the inside, schooled these offensive linemen that weren't very good blockers, made a quick move to get to the quarterback, right? Well, it's not going to be a sack this time because it's a running back. So let's watch how hard he works against a wide receiver blocking him. Way to set the edge against the receivers, Adarius.
What is that resistance right there? He doesn't even push him backwards after that. It's like a stalemate at that point. Oh, my God.
And look at how much smaller that guy is compared to him.
He's tiny.
Look at him.
He's
tiny. 198 pounds.
Yeah, he's given up 80 pounds.
And see, this is my other point. He's flowing too far
right
to the left. I understand that the running back is going that way, but he needs to flow and then stop and set the edge just in case the running back cuts back. And he didn't do that. He
didn't care.
Shoved all the way through by a wide receiver, and because he kept going too far. He does it all the time. That's the problem with him.
I mean, the other part, Bruce, is when you're the edge guy, okay? Because that's what I played, and I know it's a different level of football and all that. But the technique is when you're the edge guy and you have your defensive end, outside linebacker, you're on the end of the line, your responsibility is the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want to, even in a system where you're hitting and reading, which Za'Darius normally doesn't. Normally, Za'Darius is trying to get penetration if he can, because he doesn't really worry about the defensive rules or the scheme. And his coaches have said it. But you still want to get upfield a yard or two and then actually physically turn, at least angle 45 or 90-degree turn, so you are basically facing down the line, because you are the end guy establishing that end of the line of scrimmage. And that means you're not going to make the play if it's on the other side or run up the middle or any of that sort of stuff, but that's not your job in the defense. On that play, that's what he needed to do. Instead, he got pushed back a couple of yards, was 2 yards, upfield.
Yep.
Instead, so he's 4 yards behind where he should be and not stopping and setting the edge. Here's one quick other note of a stat.
And he was blocked by a wide receiver.
And a guy that was 80 pounds less than him. And then when he finally got his momentum stopped, and his resistance was just a stalemate. He didn't even push that guy back or knock him down, which is crazy. One other quick thing. Tackles for a loss. Tackles for a loss in 19, 1.06 tackles for a loss per game. Last year, 0.75 tackles for a loss per game. Comparison, TJ Watt, 1.53 per game. Double.
Oh, and he was the most double teamed, by the way. But only 30% of the time.
So what do you want? You want effort? This is what I want. Effort, pressure, and discipline. We get sometimes effort, sometimes pressure, and almost no times discipline out of the third highest paid guy at his position and a guy the Packers are paying a heck of a lot of money for. It just doesn't add up. I'm sorry.
Second highest paid on the team. Highest paid defensive player.
This is why, and I know people are gonna rip me for this, but
That's okay.
this is why, in my opinion, it would have been more worth it to cut Z Smith and sign JJ Watt, just because Watt gives 110% all the time. He plays the run a heck of a lot better. And look what he did last year when he was the most double teamed defensive end in the league. Now, granted, he's more of a 4-3 defensive end, so he's not a 3-4 guy. But
yeah, but how many plays did I just show you? Every one of those sacks, most of it was 4-3. I mean, there was 4 down linemen. Very seldom was it 5, right?
Right. So, but that's what I would have rather had us do. But
how much per year did Watt go for? 15?
Yeah, something like that.
So it'd have been a little bit less money, and you would have been getting a better player, at least for a couple of years anyway.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Well, your opinion is fact at this point. It just is. I mean, what else do we have to show you? What more do we have to show you? Look, we're not trying to hate on Z Smith. We're not even trying to rail on it. We're just pointing out what happened. We're telling you numbers, the difference in the numbers, the production, and showing you film examples of all this stuff. I will guarantee you this. There is no other outside guy in the NFL that has the same amount of latitude to do whatever the heck they want, where they can jump inside and rush against guards and tell guys, oh, switch to my side because I want to go against that crappy offensive lineman. Or, hey, Kenny Clark, jump over here now because I want to be here. There's nobody else that has that freedom and that ability within the context of their defense. And that's all the production. We have a guy that can do whatever he wants, basically, on a bunch of these pass plays. And that's all the production we get. That's it. 0.75 tackles for a loss per game. 23 quarterback hits in 16 games. 1.44 per game. It's not good enough.
The biggest thing that bothers me about him is he doesn't keep his head up to see what's going on. He has zero awareness. I said that before, but in Madden, they should give him a 0.1 for awareness because he doesn't know what's going on ever. And here's the other part that scares me. Yes, we got a new defensive coordinator, Joe Barry, right? Every single position coach is stayed the same. They didn't replace anybody, which means the same guys who'd be coaching him that coached him last year day to day. So if they couldn't see this stuff and make him play to what's supposed to be done last year with that same coach, this coming up year, is anything going to change? Is Joe Barry going to have enough clout to go and be like, hey, your guy stinks, or not stinks, but I mean, he's half buttoned at half the time. Can we get out there and make him do what he's supposed to do according to the defense instead of freelancing or whatever is going on and taking plays off and, getting blocked by wide receivers and all this kind of crap? I don't know. They did not replace any other coaches on the defense, just that defensive coordinator. So is that going to help do anything? What do you guys think? Do you think there's anything they can do with that?
Ben, the other key point that I want to hear from Bruce is they also didn't change any defensive starters or players that would maybe get on a guy like that, or maybe give him a shot in the butt. Like you mentioned about how JJ Watt would have done that. JJ Watt would have demanded, and he would have the clout and that ability to go to a team captain, 2-time Pro Bowler, all-pro guy and be like, hey, you need to give it your all, man. We need you for this. We know how effective you can be if you play 100% all the time. So just give us that. But who's going to do that? Who's going to do that on this defense? Adrian Amos is a veteran safety, but he's not that kind of guy. He's too soft-spoken. Your corners, they're just worried about the outside stuff. I mean, Ja talks a lot, but he's plays a totally different position. That's not what he's going to do. Kenny Clark, too soft-spoken of a guy. P. Smith ain't going to do it. Who's going to do it? Nobody.
Well, to address both of you, what you were saying, first of all, Jason, you're right. We have no vocal leader on this team. I mean, think about how Woodson was back in the day when we won the Super Bowl. He was super vocal, and a big time leader on the football team. And we don't have anybody like that. And I think that's part of the reason why this defense is so lackadaisical sometimes, is because there's not anybody to kick anybody in the ASS. So that's number one. And then Ben, what you were talking about, when you change a defensive coordinator, I get that LaFleur probably likes some of those guys and maybe they did a decent job, in a lot of areas, but I think you got to let the defensive coordinator pick his guys, and he didn't really get to do that. And I mean, do we know if Barry just decided, I'll keep everybody? I doubt it. I mean, we didn't hear about any interviews. We didn't hear about him meeting with everybody and then deciding, okay, you're gone, you're here, that type of thing. So that's another thing that concerns me. Kind of just what, to top off what you said is that's scary to me when you just bring in a defense coordinator and he doesn't get to do anything or pick his guys, because he could want to do some different things and these guys, maybe don't believe in his philosophy. So I don't know.
Good that's question. The other thing. I mean, I've worked in retail for years and years, and I was, a supervisor and manager of different departments, and usually I was a manager of receiving teams and stuff like that. And I just know for me, I was at Toys R Us for 7 or 8 years, whatever it was, and I had 4 different managers at the store. And every one of them would come in and say something different about what we had to do. And the company as a whole would change their rules and all this kind of stuff. And I would still tell the people on my team, I'm like, yeah, don't worry about what they say. We're going to do what I know works. Okay. Because that's the way it's got to get done. They think it's going to be all roses with this new plan they have. And then they're going to change it 6 months from now anyways. So let's just do whatever it is. So think about that. If you're the outside linebacker coach or the secondary coach or the defensive line coach, and you've already had 2 years, 3 years with these guys, right? And now a new guy comes in, he's like, we're going to do this and this and this. But then when they're in their individual meeting rooms, the individual coach of that unit is like, yeah, we're going to still do it the way we always did it, guys, because that's how we were successful last year, blah, blah, blah. If anybody asks you why, we're going to do it that way anyways. And here's the thing I learned. I did that my first couple of years working there. And when things went wrong, and they usually did, but not because of me or because of what we were doing, they blamed me because I didn't do what they wanted me to do. So then after 3 or 4 years, I was like, I just get sick of being blamed for this crap. I'm going to do what they tell me now. I'm going to teach what they tell me now. And then our production even went way down the tubes. And then when they came at me while production was down, I'd be like, hey, I'm following all your rules. I'm doing all the things you told me to do. Even though I told you when you told me these things, this is the problem and this is what's going to be different. And that's what needs to happen. These coaches need to be able to do whatever Joe Barry wants them to do, if it's a fail or if it's a success, so that he is the problem. But I don't know if that's something that can happen when the entire structure of that defense, of all the individual coaches, are still the same and have the same relationships with all those same guys who they haven't. The defense is pretty much going to be almost the same, right? Just Kenny Clark is gone, or Kenny King. Jason's guy, Kenny King, is going to be gone.
Kenny King.
But you know what? I understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I don't know if the individual coaches are going to buy in. I mean, they're going to say they are, but behind the scenes, are they going to say they are? I know from experience, I didn't in a bunch of places because I think I knew better, and I'm sure these guys think they know better, and I bet you the players think they know better. Plus, they want to do whatever they want anyways. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Didn't Matt LaFleur say that hiring Joe Barry was like one of his best moves or something like that? I forget what his quote was, but something in a recent press conference. He said, "Oh, it was such a great move." Look, here's the deal. Here's the thing I'm wondering. I think there is hope. I wonder if Barry will have the influence and ability, be given that ability, to play the guys that he thinks will be the most productive. So, could we see him say, no, this Kiki guy, I looked at his tape. He's flashing. We need him on the field more. Ty Summers, like, I know you drafted Kamal Martin. I know you like Chris Barnes. I like him too. He's solid. But when I see Ty Summers, it's a different level. He's faster. He's more instinctive. He flows the plays. He does what we need an inside backer to do. Are we going to see that change where the new defensive coordinator allows the Packers to maximize what they have, because it's clear they don't have the money to go out and make a big impactful move. So let's see what we got. Let's see who flashed. And again, sometimes it takes that fresh set of eyes on a new thing to be like, hey, guys, I know you've been around a while, but this is what I'm seeing. And to point that out to the coaches that are there that have been watching these guys for too long. And I hope that's what happens, because I think just a couple of tweaks in playing time. I mean, let's see Gary a lot, like Bruce says. Gary needs to be on the field a lot. Preston Smith needs to be the sub guy that comes in once in a while. Or you know what? If Za'Darius is dogging it, hey, Z, go take a seat for a minute. Preston, come on in. Use Preston Smith in that role. Give me Gary a bunch. Give me more Kiki. Give me more Ty Summers. And could this defense be a lot better? I think so.
Well, I'm worried about the secondary. These corners.
Yeah, but if you get pressure, like you've seen, if you can get pressure, then it covers up a lot of issues with the secondary.
Well, we can't. I mean, honestly, we're going to draft a corner, most likely. Can't be any worse. He can't be worse than Kenny King. I mean, he can't. So,
I mean, but what do you think about Bruce? We talked about this before. Josh Jackson. What do you think about Josh Jackson? Do you give him a chance to actually play and see how he can do?
I think you probably do, because he's not a big, huge cap hit, for crying out loud. I mean, give him one more year and see what he can do. But I think you have to draft somebody. I do think you do have to draft somebody, because, Josh hasn't shown that he can take that next step yet. I'm not saying that he couldn't be serviceable. I just don't know if he can be a starter. That's the question. I mean, he tackles pretty well, but can he cover? And can he do it without being handsy? And can he cover decent receivers? I don't know. It's a good question.
Bruce, this is a team that started Kevin King.
I agree.
So, I mean,
you're right. He's better than Kenny King, for that matter.
Kenny King, Kevin King, they started both of them. It didn't matter. I mean, why? Ben and I have talked about it before. Like, here's a second round pick. This is going to be the last year of his rookie contract.
Yeah.
Like, put him out there and see what the hell he's going to do. I mean, he's playing for an NFL career to continue. If he sucks this year or doesn't get to play, he's done in the NFL, basically, right?
Yeah.
So put him out. What other guys do you have? I mean, yeah, you can spend another draft pick, but how many damn corners? We went through the corners, all that, in the offseason last year. How many damn corners are you going to draft? Like, come on.
I think
put them out there.
If they don't restructure Devontae Adams, I wouldn't be surprised if they draft a receiver in the first round.
Well, that's true too.
I mean,
that's true. They want to get one for Jordan Love,
because I think if they don't restructure him, he's not coming back. I mean, it's going to be very telling what they do. Okay. Mm-hmm. Based on what they don't do, and then what they do in the draft, we'll know, okay, this guy's gone. Just like they told us about it. They drafted A.J. Dillon. Well, see you later, Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones. They drafted Jordan Love. Okay, well, Tim Boyle, you're out of here. Aaron Rodgers, you're not getting an extension. You're probably gone next year. Hate to say it, fans. That's the way it's going to be.
Raiders.
They drafted 3 interior offensive linemen in the late rounds. Corey Linsley, sorry, pal. Your contract's up. We got the money for you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, they might do what they did with the wide receivers and draft 3 receivers in the late round again, but I don't think they can pull that off. They need to draft a freaking good one to make up for if Devontae's gone. But we'll see what happens based on if they don't extend these guys, or Rodgers and Adams, or if they do, or whatever it is, but whichever way it's going, we'll know. Are they playing for now and the next 2-3 years with a core team of solid veterans, or are they playing this year and then moving on to younger players and draft picks and all that kind of crap and try to retool for the seasons to come? It's weird.
But Bruce, don't you feel like that's the biggest problem for the Packers? That's the thing that's held them back the most, is that they don't seem to have an actual plan, or they do and then they don't stick to it, because you don't have a plan to draft and build for the future a year or two after you just signed and spent a whole bunch of guys on money on free agents to win now. They just keep the last 4 years have just been this back and forth of counterproductivity that just makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, going all in with the Smith brothers, and then all of a sudden drafting Jordan Love and moving up to do it, giving up a fourth rounder to move up, just it makes no sense. I mean, because you're looking for the future there, and a year before that you're going all in to try to win the Super Bowl because that you weren't getting pressure on the quarterback, and that was one of your main issues on defense. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That has been an issue, and sometimes I wonder if Gutekunst is just flying by the seat of his pants, and if he likes the guy, okay, I'm gonna go get him, and I'm gonna throw a bunch of draft picks to move up to get him, just like he did it with Jared, he did it with Savage, he did it with Love. Gary's the only one he didn't do it with, but then we picked Gary when we just had signed both Smith brothers, pretty much. So it's yeah, I mean it's very random, and it hasn't made a whole lot of sense the last 2-3 years, but this is the hand we've been dealt, and I guess we're going to see what happens this year, especially with a tougher schedule. So,
and all those Packer faithful, Bruce, will just tell you to shut up and trust in the more than the GM or the people running the team when you say this stuff.
I'm a coach GM is what I am.
You know what? I think we kind of do at this point because they don't seem to be following a plan. Usually successful teams have a plan or a way of doing things. The Packers are all over the place. The only result of what they're doing is the fact that we're not going to win another Super Bowl unless all the breaks go our way. Like, that's what you're doing. With Aaron Rodgers, with some of the pieces in place, yes, you have a chance. You have a chance, but you need a bunch of stuff to fall in line in order to actually get there. You're not taking the bull by the horns and saying, we're going to get there. We're going to make the moves necessary to make this our reality. You're saying, we're going to be in the mix, and hey, if everything falls right, we could get to that next Super Bowl. That's the way the Packers have been doing business.
Yep. And that's because the coffers are full, people. And the board is okay with that. Hey, we got Lambeau, Lambeau, what do they call it now? With the sliding stuff and the Winter Wonderland or whatever we have in Lambeau now,
Yeah. There's all the attractions built up.
It's
around
another moneymaker, and the board loves that when we can keep the coffers full, and we got Aaron Rodgers for another year or so, and the fans are just all happy, and they just want to come and pay the ticket prices and have some beer, and they're good to go.
Yeah, pay $12 to slide down a hill on an inner tube. Go to Algoma and go to frickin' Peterson Park and slide down that hill. I did it many times. Didn't cost me anything.
That's a good one too. If you go
only 30 miles away from Green Bay, it'll cost you, maybe I guess it'll cost you more in gas, but so what? It'll cost you in gas what it costs to maybe slide down that hill twice. So just go to frickin' Peterson Park in Algoma, you'll be fine.
Yep, and go to the far hill, go around the corner, head to the steep one that's got the big slide there.
Yeah,
that's
baby.
That's the one to go on.
Hey, I got a special treat we've been doing this for 2 hours. Good.
We're about ready to close it out. Finish it up, Ben.
Special treat. People who know me know I have a joke. It's my favorite joke of all time. And I found it again. Because people started acting like, because I told them about this joke. I'm like, it was on Elf, Alien Life Form. It was a special, like Christmas movie special from 1994 or something like that, or I don't remember exactly. But I know I was in college and I was home from college, and we were sitting in the living room with Jason and me and my mom and dad and my sister. And I swear Eric was there, Rick. He says he doesn't remember because I texted him today and asked him if he remembered. And he's like, I don't remember that. And I'm like, Rick, you're the smartest guy I know who remembers everything. You were like my rule guy for Dungeons & Dragons. How do you not remember this? I swear you were there. Maybe he wasn't, but I swear he was. And we watched this show, and then this joke came on, and it was freaking hilarious to me and Rick and my dad and my sister. But my brother, Jason here, and my mom are kind of like this. Which then made it even funnier because we're like, they didn't get it right away. And then and after a while, my mom's like, oh, ha, 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 I get it. But she really did. I don't think she still got it. And Jason never laughed. He never admitted that he got it. He gets it nowadays.
No, I just, actually today, I watched it. I saw you posted on Facebook. Today, it was the first time I got it.
It only took 30 years.
All right, well, here it is. This is my favorite joke of all time from the Elf TV show. Everybody knows I love Elf because he eats cats, and I hate cats. So that's why I love Elf. Here we go. Everybody loves Elf. This is a great, great joke. Bruce, we'll see if you get it.
Did you click share sound?
Yeah, I think I did.
Okay.
I thought I'd open with a joke or two. No jokes, Alf. Here's one. What's the difference between a shower curtain and toilet paper? I don't know. So you're the one.
That's right. It's the greatest joke. What's that? You want to hear it again? Okay, here it is.
No jokes, Alf. Here's one. What's the difference between a shower curtain and toilet paper? I don't know. So you're the one. I thought I'd open with a joke or two.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. That is the greatest joke I've ever heard. Anyways, I tell that joke to everybody I meet. Whenever you're a new employee that works with me, in the first week I'm working with you, I tell you that joke to see if you get it.
I'm gonna tell that at work on Monday.
And probably about half the people get it, sometimes a little more, because it's a dumb joke. It's not even, it's really not that funny, but it's the funniest part is to see if people get it right away or if they don't get it. Because I guess either you laugh your butt off because it's stupid funny, it's because it's butt poop humor, or you're just like, I don't get it. What happened? So yeah. But anyways, it wasn't a figment of my imagination. I did remember that joke because I found it on YouTube today. Because somebody I was talking to at work about it the other day, and they were like, I don't think that ever happened. That's the dumbest joke ever. You just made that up. I'm like, no, it was on freaking national TV. I swear to God. And there it was. I found it.
That's classic. That was a joke that was tailor-made for me. I don't understand why I didn't get it for 25 years. But hey, I got it today, so it is funny. One quick thing before we sign up. Bruce, thanks for hanging with us for so long. Not that you had anything else to do.
Also, Bruce, thanks for standing up and being, standing up against the hate. The mob of fans that think you're a jerk and a moron, and standing up and saying, you're a moron.
He wasn't mean.
I appreciate hanging. Actually, one thing I want to give a shout out to.
Okay.
My son's birthday today. He said,
hey!
And he went to sections in the 50 free in swimming tonight, and he beat his best time. He's not going to state, but he beat his best time. So very proud of him. So I just wanted to give that shout out. So.
How old is he?
He's going to be 17. Actually, he's 17 today.
17 today. Holy crap. You're old, Bruce.
I know.
Is he so he'll be, this is his junior year?
Yeah, he's going to be senior next year.
Oh man, he'll be cleaning up that pool next year. Nice.
Hopefully.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's coming from two guys that can't swim worth crap. I can't swim at all.
No, I cannot. I can't even float. I die.
So that's pretty cool, man. That's awesome.
That is awesome. See, you're athletic, Bruce. You actually did sports and stuff. You said you were a quarterback.
I'm not athletic anymore. Yeah, I was athletic 30 years ago. I'm not athletic anymore.
Well, when your son is the same age as you were when you had Don Mikowski's hair slinging the ball around.
I don't know where he got the swimming from though, because I don't swim either. But he's good at it. So
hey, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. So it's mutations. But Evan finally just started watching X-Men movies with me, so I'm learning about those mutations. So that's probably what it is.
Funny how you should say that, because that was one of the games I bought with my money that I got from the Nerd Game Store. X-Men Mutant Insurrection just came out about a week ago. It's a freaking awesome game that we're playing tomorrow. I'm making my family play against their will.
I can't believe Rick and Mom and Dad are still on here. Hey, one more thing before we go for whoever actually hangs on and watches this stuff is that, look, I just went through
Mom
this
said she finally got it. So it took 30 years too.
I just went through and like was watching all these other things, and I've heard Nico say stuff about people's shtick and all this other sort of stuff, and I watch, and we saw Skip Bayless get paid a crap
Oh
ton
my
of
God.
money for just being a total douchebag who says crazy stuff just
He
because.
says the same crap every day.
Exactly.
Same crap every day.
And Pat McAfee, said he actually paid him some respects. He's like, and he compared it to the band that has to go on tour and play the same song for the 1000th time. And he's like, most people get sick of it and don't want to do it, but this guy keeps doing it. And he made a big payday because he keeps saying the same crap over and over again. It's always about the Cowboys are the best and Tom Brady's the best and Aaron Rodgers sucks. Same thing he always says. That's it, right?
Oh, no, Michael Jordan's the best and LeBron James sucks.
Right. LeBron James is terrible. He's never even close to as good as Jordan. I mean,
I do agree with that.
Well, I mean, come on.
I don't care one way. I hate them both.
Got to give LeBron some respect. I mean, but anyway, point is, whatever. Point is that I just want to be clear. We do not say anything on this show to get clicks. We do not say anything on this show because we think it's going to, get us more notice. Would we like our stuff to be popular? Would we like a bunch of people to watch it and get it and be entertained by it or interested? Yes, of course. Of course. Because then we might get some money. And we might help educate and spread a little bit of truth to people like Bruce's people that lambasted him in the Facebook comments. Hundreds of comments on Bruce's one comment when he was just trying to share a little truth. Like, goodness gracious, people. Come on. There can't be that many people that don't see the same things we see. Anyway, the point is, yes, that would be fantastic. But we do not, in any time, say stuff just to say stuff or say stuff just to get people riled up or whatever. Yes, I get a little excited sometimes and overstate some things or get excited about my man Lucas Patrick or hammer on Kevin King. But as I was proved to be right again throughout this season, as I was the other seasons, anyone could have started instead of him. It would have been just as good or better. But we don't say any of that crap just to say it or try to get clicks or try to get popular. We say it because that's what we think. It's our honest opinions / most of the time kind of truth. So,
and if it's a really dumb opinion, that's our honest dumb opinion. We're that stupid.
Yeah.
So you got to remember that too.
We're not always right. I'm not saying we're always right. I'm just saying that we say stuff because that's what we believe. It's not because we're just trying to say crap to like get noticed or whatever. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear for everybody. There's no hidden agendas. It's just a couple of clowns and sometimes friends who are not as clownish that come on the show and say stuff that we think. That's it. So peace out. Stay well. Mom finally got the joke, and so did I. Although I got it before you, Mom, because I watched it earlier today. All right,
and
Bruce.
Happy birthday to Bruce's son, who's 17.
That's right. 17. And Vinny's birthday is coming up.
Yeah.
23rd. And is he going to be 18?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Right.
We're getting old. Bruce, we're getting old. Stay young.
Bravo.
All right. Take care over there in Minnesota. Stay well, everybody. Get your vaccines as soon as you can get them. And let's get back to some sort of normal. Go Pack Go or no Pack No. I